Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a world of music that's way older than any Spotify playlist and way more personal than any viral hit. We're talking about folk music, the original soundtrack of history written by everyday people just like you and me.
Just imagine for a second. Your walk to school, the stress before an exam, laughing with your friends, all your worries and your biggest dreams. What if all of that was packed into a single song? What would it even sound like?
Well, that's it. That's exactly what folk music is. It's nothing more than life itself, captured in notes and words. It's the music that happens when real people sing about their real lives.
Okay, so let's really break this down. To understand what makes folk music so special, we've got to go right back to the beginning. Where did this music even come from, and how did it work?
This right here is the key to everything: oral tradition. See, back in the day, most people couldn't read or write music, so songs weren't written down. They were sung around a campfire, out in the fields or in the local pub, and then someone else would sing it back. You just learned it and passed it on, from grandparents to parents, parents to kids, on and on through the generations.
And this led to some super interesting results. First off, who actually wrote the song? A lot of the time, nobody knew. The song didn't belong to some big star, it belonged to the whole community. It told stories about things everyone knew: the harvest, the weather, just life. And because everyone sang it a little differently, the song was always changing, just a little bit. That's how folk music basically became a living history book for regular people.
All right, let's go a step further and listen a little closer. How do you get that classic folk sound? Well, a lot of it has to do with the tools people actually had available.
The instruments had to be one thing above all else: practical. An acoustic guitar, a small violin, often called a fiddle, or a banjo. You could take those anywhere. You didn't need electricity, you didn't need giant speakers. Sometimes all you needed were your own hands and feet for clapping and stomping. Everything was handmade, direct, and honest.
And what's really interesting is when you compare it directly. The sound of folk is natural, it's acoustic, it's meant to feel intimate for a small group of people. A lot of today's pop music is kind of the complete opposite, right? It's electronically amplified, perfected in a studio, and designed for massive stadiums. Both are cool, but that difference in where they come from is why the music feels so fundamentally different.
Now we get to the absolute heart of folk music. Because honestly, the melody is often just the vehicle. The real cargo, that's the stories.
This quote just nails it. You could even say that folk music was the original social media. Before everyone had internet, TV, or even newspapers, songs were how you got the news. They spread stories about big battles, reported on disasters like a massive flood, or shared the latest legends from the next town over.
So you could say a folk song basically had three main jobs. First, to record important events for the future. Second, to document the struggles of everyday life, like what it was like for a coal miner underground. And third, and this might be the most important one, to share feelings that every single person understands, whether it was 300 years ago or today. Love, heartbreak, joy, sadness, the big stuff.
And here's a specific term you should definitely know: the ballad. Think of it like a whole Netflix episode in a single song. A ballad tells a complete, detailed story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, often over many, many verses.
But here's the thing, folk music isn't just from one country. All over the world, people were making music about their lives, even if it didn't all sound the same. So let's take a quick trip around the globe.
Just look at how geography and culture shape the music. It's brilliant. If you live by the coast, it just makes sense that you'd sing about the sea and fishing in what are called sea shanties. Up in the mountains, it's all about the harvest and nature. In the USA, a country of immigrants and pioneers, a lot of songs are about starting over and fighting for your rights. The instruments, the topics, the rhythm, it's all shaped by the world right outside your door.
Okay, so that's all really cool history, but why does any of this matter to us today? Well, it matters a lot, because the soul of folk music is more alive than ever. It's just wearing different clothes. It's a huge mistake to think that folk is all about dusty old songs. The idea behind it is just as relevant now as it ever was. I mean, check this out. Back in the day, people sang protest songs against an unfair king. Today, musicians sing about climate change or social injustice. The topics change, but the principle is exactly the same: telling an honest story with handmade music that comes straight from the heart and wants to make a difference.
And that tradition is alive and well in genres like indie folk or folk rock. So many artists you listen to today are using those same old principles: an acoustic guitar, a personal story, and an honest voice. They're carrying the world's oldest musical tradition right into the 21st century.
And that's really the crucial point here, isn't it? That's all it takes. Just one person, one instrument, and one story. That's the essence of folk. That simplicity isn't a weakness. It's its greatest strength.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. You're part of this long tradition now too, so think about it. If you were to write a song today, a real folk song about your life right here and now, what story would it tell? Because your story deserves to be heard.